Hello, data scientists. This is part 2 of the interview with Matt Woods, and we've just been talking about another side project, an interesting side project that Matt has been working on or has worked on. And why don't you tell us a little bit about it, Matt?
Yeah, so this is a project that I did essentially in my spare time simply because it was a phenomenon that I got interested in. So our daughter is now 3.5 years old, and when she was born, we had the normal process, I guess, that people go through of trying to choose a name for children. And we settled very quickly on the name Sophie for our daughter, which is a name that I think is wonderful, and she's grown into it fantastically. But at the time that we chose that name, the name Sophia to me was something that was fairly uncommon, and I didn't know anyone else that had named a daughter Sophie or Sophia. It really wasn't on our radar. It was something that we had sort of dug up from the past as we saw it and gave to our daughter. But several months after she was born, I saw statistics that were indicating that the name Sophia had actually become the single most popular girl's name for the year 2012. So I got interested in the idea that there are these sort of trends that happen with baby names that have some kind of influence on a person without us necessarily even being aware of where the influence comes from when we think about something like a name. I was fascinated by the idea that we had sort of made this intense search through all of these names and come up with what just to us personally seemed like the best possibility, but it actually was something that so many other people had gotten the same idea at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and I collected data from the U.S. Census Bureau about baby names.
Mm-hmm.
And they had data all the way back to 1960.
Mm-hmm.
So I did essentially a data science project to see if I could visualize what these kinds of waves in the trends of baby names look like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the popularity of the name Sophia specifically was particularly interesting to me because it seemed to have come out of nowhere. It was an unpopular name when I was growing up. And then somehow right when our daughter acquired that name, it had become tremendously popular across the U.S. And even from what I've seen in Europe and other parts of the world, all at the same time. It just seems to be this mysterious effect that happens with the ebb and flow of name popularity. So this is one of the maps that I put together from the data, from the Census Bureau data. And what I did was I created a graph with nodes at the geographic center of each state. And then I put a balloon centered at that state's location. And I displayed over time from 1960 until 2013 how popular the name was in that state. And I used the size of the balloon. The balloons get bigger as the name becomes more popular. And there we go. Around 2000, it starts to come up. So both the color and the size are communicating the same information. Here by 2008, it's already becoming, it's top 10. And there, right, 2012, #1 name in pretty much every state in the U.S. And some of the names, when you look at them like this, you see kind of a geographical wave that happens across the U.S. where you can pinpoint certain regions of the country where it got popular first, and it sort of percolates outward. Mm-hmm. Sophia seems to come up all at once, but it's hard for me to point to any kind of character from a movie, or there was a Sophia and the Golden Girls. Maybe that's what caused it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, and as we were talking previously, you mentioned the concept of a collective consciousness, where these things might be floating around in some sort of unified field that comes through in some ways that we haven't even explored. And
it definitely felt like some sort of zeitgeist that we had tapped into, that there was, without us being consciously aware of any kind of influence that shaped our choice of name, there seemed to be something that was just kind of going on at that time. And this was an attempt to sort of map that out, to get a sense of this sort of collective behavior that we have in terms of something which is, it's unlike trends, I would say, in shopping and things, because when a person names their children, it's an incredibly personal decision. They're really choosing something that reflects what they want for their children.
Yep.
And how they want their children to interact with the world. It's something that people put a lot of time into, and it's the personal nature of it, perhaps, is what makes it subject to these kinds of sweeping changes that happen across, apparently, continents and the whole planet.
Yeah, well, it's definitely an area of interest to me, and I think with the happiness and the exploration research that I'm doing with the country of Bhutan, something that I hope to see more and more of in my data science career, and hopefully in others as well. So thanks for sharing that, Matt.
Of course.
And
Thank you.
Great to see.